السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Inshallah, today we are looking at lesson number 56, as you can see. And today's the title for today's lesson is Safinatun Alal Bar. Safinatun Alal Bar. As you can see, Safinatun Alal Bar. And this is a very interesting topic, of course. Safinatun Alal Bar, a ship on land. A ship on land. Safinatun, we all know, is ship. Alal Bar. Barrun is dry land. Okay, it's the opposite of Bahar. Bahrun means the sea, okay, and Bar means the dry land. So, of course, ships are mostly or always found in water bodies. But here we are seeing a ship that is on land, a ship that moves on land. So, as I said, it's a very interesting topic. Let's see what it entails. Sheikh begin by saying that هل سمعت بسفينة تسير على البر? Have you heard of a ship moving on land? So that's a question he has asked us. وَهَلْ تُصَدِّقُ إِذَا أَخْبَرَكَ بِهِ أَحَدٌ? And will you confirm it? Will you believe it? إِذَا أَخْبَرَكَ بِهِ أَحَدٌ, if someone should inform you of it. The verb here is tasaddaqa or saddaqa yusaddiqu. Saddaqa yusaddiqu. It means to confirm the truth in something. For example, someone says something to you and you see Saddaqta, meaning you have said the truth. Okay, you confirm that what he's saying is true. That is Saddaqa yusaddiqu. So for example, Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, he came to the Prophet and then he asked the Prophet a series of questions. We all know that famous hadith. And when the Prophet answered him, he said Saddaqta. Okay, most of the replies after, the Prophet gave him several replies. He says Saddaqta, Saddaqta, Saddaqta. The Prophet says something, he says Saddaqta, you have said the truth. We all know that hadith. So that is Saddaqa. Okay, someone is saying something and then you want to see that you confirm the truth in what the person is saying. That's Saddaqa. So he's saying that, he's asking that, وَهَلْ تُصَدِّقُ إِذَا أَخْبَرَكَ بِهِ أَحَدٌ? And will you confirm the truth, or will you believe it if someone should inform you of that? The manner of a ship moving on land. أَظُنُّكَ تَقُولُ, I believe or I think you will say. أظنك تقول, I believe or I think you are saying ولك الحق, and you have every right. Okay, you have the right in manner to see what you are going to see here. ما سمعنا بهذا في آبائنا الأولين. We haven't heard of this in our forefathers. Among our forefathers, we haven't heard of this. Way before our grandfathers, they haven't told us of anything like this. Okay, of a ship moving on land. ولكن محمدا, okay, ولكن محمد الثاني العثماني, Muhammad the second, okay, محمد الثاني العثماني فاتح القسطنطينية, the conqueror of Constantinople. Okay, Constantinople is the Constantinople, the capital of the Roman Empire. That is Constantinople. Okay, Constantinople. So this Muhammad Asani Al-Usmani, from the Dawlatul Usmaniya, the Ottoman Empire. This person was from the Ottoman Empire. This Usmani, we see the Ya at the end. We call it Ya and Nisbiya. Ya and Nisbiya. It's used to give association, to associate something with another thing. We call it Ya and Nisbiya. Of course, we all mean Nasab. Nasab means lineage or association with something. So Nisbiya. Mostly, for example, you see, let's see, you see Arabiya, okay, Kitabun Arabiyun, an Arabic book, meaning you are associating the book with Arabic language, meaning it is an Arabic language book. So a lot of things we use that Ya, okay. So for example, you see Hijriya, you associate it with something. We use this Ya, we call it Ya and Nisbiya. It's used for association. So if I say Usmaniya, meaning he has some kind of lineage with the Usman people, the Usmaniya, the Ottoman Empire. You are associating him with that empire. I hope that is clear. Mostly when it's used, we associate something with another thing. We use this Ya. Okay. So let's take note of that. So Muhammad al-Thani al-Usmaniya from the Ottoman Empire, Fatih al-Constantiniya, the conqueror of the Ottoman Empire. سير 70 سفينة على البر. He dragged. سير here, it means to drag or to move something. 70 سفينة, 70 ships على البر, on dry land. So not just one ship, 70 ships. This person, this Muhammad al-Thani, is a very popular person. Of course, we all know him. Okay, he's the one who conquered the capital of the Roman Empire, the capital of the Roman, that's Constantinople, the conqueror. Okay, Fatih here, Fatah means to open, literally, but it means to conquer. Like we have Surah Al-Fatih, the conquer of Mecca. So Fatih is this one is Ism Fa'il, the doer is called the Fatih. Okay, but actually the verb is Fatah Yaftahu. It means to conquer. It's not always all the time that it means to open. It can sometimes means to conquer. I hope that is clear. Literally, you are opening it. It's like there's no Islam there, and then you bring Islam into it. You have opened his doors to Islam, so you are the conqueror there. So he is the conqueror of Constantinople. سير 70 سفينة على البر. هل تعرف كيف كان ذلك? Do you know how that was done? هل تعرف كيف كان ذلك? Do you know how it was? بمعنى how he did it. غزا العرب القسطنطينية العظمى 6 مرات. The Arabs invaded. Gaza means to invade or to wage war on another country or another group of people. So that is Gaza. So Gaza al-Arab al-Qastantiniyyah al-Uzma. The Arabs invaded or they wage war on the great Constantinople 6 مرات, 6 times. وَلَمْ يَفْتَحُوهَا, but they didn't conquer it. The manner they didn't succeed. Of course, several people tried to conquer it before this person, this Muhammad al-Thani. Several people tried, but they all failed. They all failed. And of course, we were given assurance. The Prophet said that, this part, Constantinople is going to be conquered. So there was an assurance from the Prophet. The Prophet made this statement way before. And so Muslims mostly used to have great enthusiasm towards doing that, but several trials, it all failed before this particular person. So that's what he's saying 6 times, but all this وَلَمْ يَفْتَحُوهَا, they didn't conquer it. وَقَدْ قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَكُونَ هَذَا الْفَتْحُ الْعَظِيمُ, and Allah had decreed that this great conquer is going to be بِيَدِ شَابٍ مُسْلِمٍ, in the hands of a Muslim youth, min Ali Usman, from the descendants, from the lineage of Usman. This is very important. Let's talk about this word al, because most of the time we use it. It even comes in the Quran and even several hadiths. Okay, even in the salat, when we are making salat on the Prophet. Okay, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. You see this al. Al could mean several things, mainly descendants or house, like, how do I say it? The lineage, okay, generation, that is al. But it can also mean, like in that prayer, when we are praying for the Prophet, when we are doing salawat on the Prophet, wa ala ali Muhammad, and on the lineage, the atba, ali could also mean followers, those who follow a particular person, the legacy of a particular person. So in that dua, we are saying that wa ala ali Muhammad, and Allah should also send salat on the followers, bimana atba'ahu, those who follow his footsteps, those who follow his lineage, bimana those who believe and follow him. Okay, of course, Muslims, all Muslims who are followers of the Prophet, that is what it also. And even in the Quran, like Allah says, وَيَوْمَ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةُ أَدْخِلُوا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ أَشَدَّ الْعَذَابِ. And when on Judgment Day, أَدْخِلُوا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ أَشَدَّ الْعَذَابِ. The lineage of, I'm saying the lineage, the atba, those who follow Fir'aun, those who follow the legacy of Fir'aun. It doesn't, most of the time you see it always, people saying household. Like you say Ali Muhammad, Wala Ali Muhammad, you see the household of Muhammad. It doesn't really mean household. It's not every household, all the household of Prophet who are even Muslims. The same thing with Fir'aun. There are people, Fir'aun wife. Let's not just go for Fir'aun wife. Okay. Asir, may Allah have mercy on her. Radiallahu anha. She was a Muslim. She was a believer. So you can't say household of Fir'aun. Household of Fir'aun wife is a Muslim. So it means the followers, those who follow the footsteps, the legacy of that particular person is al. I hope that is clear. So of course, there are, how do I say it? All this can also have meaning, but in this context, in those it varies. Like we mostly see معاني الكلمات تتغير بالسياق. معاني الكلمات تتغير بالسياق. Meaning of words changes based on the sentence in which it found itself. So a word can have different meanings depending on the sentence in which it found itself. Okay, so min Ali from the descendants or from the lineage of Usman, of Usman. وهو في رابعة والعشرين من عمره, and he was in 24 years. Bimana, he was 24 years of age. He was 24 years of age. وَذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ, and this is the favor, this is a virtue, favor of Allah. He gives it to him, to who he wants. To whom he wants. زَحَفَ مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَى الْقَنْسْتَنْتِنِيَّةِ, Muhammad marched to Constantinople. Bimana, this Muhammad Sani, this person who conquered Constantinople, he marched to Constantinople. Zahafa means to march slowly. Have you seen an army marching slowly? That is Zahafa. Of course, animals that crawl on their belly, we call them Zuhuf. Zuhuf, animals that crawl on their belly. Okay, like a cockroach, okay, a frog. This part, you see, they move very slowly. They don't really move fast. Animals that crawl on their belly, they move very slowly. So that from it we have Zahafa. Zahafa bimana, for army to march or people to move very slowly. Okay, so Zahafa Muhammadun bimana, he moved, not only him with his army, ila Constantinople, to Constantinople. Wa a'adda li zalika uddatan azimatan, and he prepared for this a great preparation. A'adda, okay, yu'iddu, it means to prepare. To prepare, he prepared for it great preparation. Uddatan is, of course, is the noun form, great preparation. Okay, so this particular person, of course, it was not just a small conquest. The manner, it wasn't something that just come out of nowhere. He really prepared. Some people even have the belief that he spent his whole life. I mean, not necessarily his entire life. The manner from the time he just become Balik, he just became an adolescent, until that point that he conquered it. I mean, this point of 24 years of age, between that period, his whole aim, his concentration was just how to capture this city. So he just spent his youthful age on, drawing maps and determining flaws and doing a lot of calculations how he will be able to capture this particular city. So it was not a small preparation. That's what they said here. وَعَدَّ لِذَلِكَ عُدَّةً عَظِيمًا. He really prepared for that. فَقَدْ قَالَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى, for surely Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah the Exalted, has said, وَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ, and prepare for them. وَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ. When you are preparing for the, for the disbelievers, when you are preparing against the disbelievers, prepare to your utmost ability. Prepare to the best of your ability for them. Okay. فَكَانَ تَحْتَ قِيَادَتِهِ 300,000 مُقَاتِلٍ, and there was under his leadership. كَانَ تَحْتَ قِيَادَتِهِ. Qiyadatun means leadership. Okay. It can also mean driving. Of course, you see, driving of a car is called qiyadatun. Yes, driving. Of course, if you are driving a car, you are leading it. You will drive it to wherever you want. Bimana, you lead the car to wherever you want. So qiyadatun, from it is, it's similar imagery. You are leading a group of people. You drive them. You lead them to where you want. So qiyadatun means leadership. If you see it used for driving, don't be surprised. As I said, driving a car or driving something means you are leading it. You command it, or you take it to wherever you want. You are indirectly leading it. So فَكَانَ تَحْتَ قِيَادَتِهِ 300,000 مُقَاتِلٍ. There was under his leadership 300,000 fighters. So this particular person, he had 300,000 fighters under his leadership. وَمَعَهُ مِدْفَعِيَّةٌ هَائِلَةٌ, and he had a midfa'iyya. When we say midfa'iyatun, it is what we term as artillery. In today's terminology, is artillery. You see, when countries are fighting, especially when two great countries are fighting one another, and then they are sharing one another with artillery bombs or whatever. This particular artillery is what we term as midfa'iyya. So he had a very big midfa'iyah. Of course, that time they said it wasn't something small. We will even see, they will describe it. Fiha midfa'un, in it there was a midfa. A midfa actually means a gun, but here it was suitable, it is like a bomb. Okay, kanun. It's like a massive kanun. That's here. That's what this midfa here means. Massive kanun. La yujadu fi Uruba. It is, you can't find it in Uruba. Adhamu minhu. La yujadu fi Uruba adhamu minhu. You won't find in Europe adhamu minhu, that which is heavier than it. You won't find in Europe that which is heavier than it. Okay, that which is bulky than it. That midfa'iyah, that artillery that he was having, you won't find in Europe another midfa that is adhamu minhu, that is bigger than it. Dahmun, the verb here, this is ism tafdil. Okay, but the actual now is dahmun. Dahmun means something that is very bulky, something very big. Like we say kitabun dahmun, it means a very big book, meaning something like a dictionary. Dictionaries are mostly big, so something like that is called kitabun dahmun. Wa'addahu lizalik, and he prepared it for this. He just made it solely for the conquest. That was his only aim of manufacturing or preparing something like that for capturing. Of course, this Constantinople, they had fought several wars. That was the capital of the Byzantine Rome, the Byzantine Empire. It was not a small thing. They were the superpower at that time. The strongest city in the surface of the earth at that time. Physically, in terms of physical strength, they were those who can see as the strongest city on the surface of the earth at that time. So you are coming to conquer something like this. It seems funny. It seems people think it is almost impossible to do this, but this particular person was preparing. So of course, that's what they are saying. Wa'adda lizalik, and he says that wa'adda lizalika marmahu aksaru min milin. Marmahu aksaru min milin. The range, okay, the target. Marmahu. When we say marma means, rama. Rama means to what? To throw. Rama means to throw or to shoot something. So when we are throwing something, the actual target is called marma. We call this masdar mimi. We call it masdar mimi. Masdar, verbal noun. The range, the target. When you are, as I said, if you are throwing something, the target is called the target is called the marma. But here, of course, the range is similar to the target. Okay, because the thing you are targeting, the range between you and it can also be termed as the marma. So he's saying that marmahu, the marma of this particular midfa, okay, is aksaru min milin, more than a mile. It was more than a mile. وَكَانَ أُسْطُولُهُ مُرَكَّبًا مِنْ مِئَةِ سَفِينَةٍ حَرْبِيَّةٍ. وَكَانَ أُسْطُولُهُ, and his ustul. When we say ustul is in today's terminologies what we term as fleet, okay, or squadron, fleet. We know when an army is going to attack another army. If one particular nation is invading another nation, okay, and they are moving, for example, like the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Okay, when the Russians were invading the Ukraine, okay, you see that they were moving with some kind of ammunitions, and then battalions of artillery men, soldiers. So all these particular come together is what we term as ustul. Ustul, the ammunitions, the guns, the tanks, the soldiers, all these military personnel as well as equipment together is what we term as the ustul. Hope that is clear. So what kind of ustuluhu, the fleet or the squadron, murakkaban, they were arranged min mi'ati safinatin harbiya, in 100 warships. In 100 warships, safinatin harbiya, warship. So they were arranged, they moved by means of 100 warships. So 100 warships were carrying the military men as well as the ammunitions, the equipment that they are using to go and attack. Wakana Muhammadun ra'a anna al-aduwa, and Muhammad has seen that the adu, the enemy, قد سلسل خليج قرن الذهب. قد سلسل خليج قرن الذهب. The Muhammad, this conqueror of Constantinople, he has seen that the enemy could visit the Roman Empire. They had chained, salsala means to chain something. They had chained the Khalija Qarni Zahab. This is a particular ism, this is a place. When you are trying to enter into the Roman Empire, you had to, and you are using warships. Of course, if you are using ships, you have to pass through the sea. So through the sea, the entrance into the Roman Empire through the sea, they chained that particular place to make sure that no one enters. They use chains to by means of towers on both sides of the empire, they drag the chain throughout the water to the other end of the Roman Empire. So if you are coming with warships, you couldn't enter because of those chains. And it was not it was not just casual chains. It was very, very strong chains. So that's what they are saying. He's saying here, they had chained this particular place. Constantinople, and it was the entry point of Constantinople. That was the place where you could enter Constantinople. So if you are carrying warships, he's carrying warships, 100, and then there are chains that prevent them from passing through. So if not they allow you to pass, you can pass because they have chained the place. Bisalasil, with chains. So how does he enter with his stool? With his fleet or with his squadron. Fakkara Muhammad taught. Fakkara, to think. Walam ya'jaz, and he didn't become incapable. Ajaza manner to become incapable of doing something. People thought it was almost impossible, but this particular person, he was saying to himself, this is possible. Walam ya'az, and he didn't lose hope. Okay, he didn't lose hope. Ya'isa means to lose hope. Wawajada hilatan, and he found a means. He found a way. Hilun or hilatun means to found. It means a way of doing something. That is hil, hilatun. Okay, it even comes in the Quran. إلا المستضعفين من الرجال والنساء والولدان الذين لا يجدون لا يستطيعون حيلة ولا يهتدون سبيلا. Okay, so those who doesn't find a means of coming out into to fight on the path of Allah. So means of doing something is what we term as heal. Okay. Ra'a annahu. So what means or what way did he found? What alternative way did he found? Let's see what he sees. He sees that Ra'a annahu yumkinu al-ubur abara with ayn. It means to cross. Abara ya'buru. It means to cross. I think you have seen this before. Ra'a annahu yumkinu al-ubur. The noun is ubur, crossing. Okay. He saw that he is capable of crossing. يمكن العبور. He is capable of crossing. إلى القسطنطينية من جهة قاسم باشا. He saw that he could cross into Constantinople من جهة قاسم باشا, from the side of Qasim Basha. So this is another place, is a name of a place, Qasim Basha. He found out that he could pass through this particular place. I think this is around, if I'm not mistaken, the Aqsa. Okay, Aqsa Masjid. This is around this particular place, this particular path or way is around that side. ولكنه هذه الجهة بعيدة من سفنه. But this particular place, of course, this particular way, that alternative way, it was very far from his ships. It was very, very far from his ships. He is already trying to enter through the sea, where there was chains. They passed through chains throughout the sea and then they anchored it into towers at the very ends of the empire. So he couldn't pass there. But the other side, that was the Qasim Pasha side. He could pass through there. But how? This is very far from him. It was very far. So that's why he's saying that it was very far from his ships. And the ships are already in the sea. Those 100 ships. But the water doesn't extend to that region. The water doesn't extend to the Qasim Basha side. So what does he do? Or what should he do? فَمَنْ يَحْمِلُهَا وَمَنْ يَنْقُلُهَا مِنْ هَذِهِ الْجِهَةِ إِلَى تِلْكَ الْجِهَةِ. So that's what they are saying. فَمَنْ يَحْمِلُهَا, and who will carry it? وَمَنْ يَنْقُلُهَا, and who will move it, or who will transfer it? نقل ينقل, to transfer something. من هذه الجهة إلى تلك الجهة, from this side to that side. بمعنى from the side where the water is, where the ships are inside the water, to the Qasim Basha side. Who will transfer it? It's not possible. The water doesn't extend. If the water extends to that side, very simple. That is ships. Just move them through the water to that side. But this is the case. If you want to move them, you have to come out of the water, then pass through the dry land to that side of the Qasim Basha. And these are ships. Of course, we know ships doesn't move through on the land. So they are asking who will carry them. وَالْمَسَافَةُ بَعِيدَةٌ, and the distance is far. The distance is far. فَكَّرَ مُحَمَّدٌ, Muhammad thought. وَلَمْ يَعْجَزْ وَلَمْ يَيْأَسْ, and he didn't become incapable. وَلَمْ يَيْأَسْ, and he didn't lose hope. وَوَجَدَ حِيلَةً, and he found a way, bimana another way. He found a way, another way. So this healer is different from this healer. We have explained this before. This healatan is different from this healatan. And I've said this before. You can remember. Okay. Ra'aytu rajulan wa shakartu rajulan. They are different. I saw a man and I honored a man. Those two men are different. إذا ورد التكرار اللفظ مرتين بصيغة النكرة دل ذلك على اختلاف الأولى عن الثانية. I've mentioned this before. When you see two nouns, they are the same, but they are both in the state of nakira. It means they are different. So he found a way. What way was that? To pass through Qasim Basha. But that passing through of Qasim Basha had a different problem. That one too is problematic. How could the ships move there? So it was also problematic. He had to find another way. So it's another way. That's what they are saying. He wajada hilatan. So that's a different alternative here. And what's that alternative? Tola al-ahshaba bisham. He wrapped. Tola means to coat something with another thing. Have you seen how they coat? Like we have a zinc coating or gold coating. We coat something with something, another thing, that is tola. Or to paint, even paint. When you use paint to paint a metal, you have coated the paint on it. Hope that is clear. So tola means to coat something on another thing, or even to paint, or to wrap. Okay. Tola al-ahshaba bisham. Ahshabun bimana, the plural of hashabatun. Okay, wood or sticks. Okay. He used wooden poles, actually, wooden poles. You see poles that are wooden in nature. That was what he used. So tola al-ahshaba bisham, with sham, bimana fat or oil. Okay, oil. He coated oil on sticks. So he used wooden sticks or wooden poles, and then he coated it with oil, bimana, to make them slippery. So we'll see it like he says here. Falamma amlasat, and when they became slippery. Okay, amlasa, to become slippery. Oh, that is for something to become slippery. That is amlasa yumlisu, for something to become slippery. Azlaqa alayha sufun, he dragged the sea. He glided the ships on it, bimana, on the wooden poles that he has rubbed with oil. So he laid down several poles, wooden poles, or several wooden sticks. Okay, and then he rubbed them. He coated them with oil to make them slippery, and then he dragged the ships on it. So you see how wonderful some people can think, so that the ships could move. Other than that, a ship cannot move on the dry sand. You can't be dragging it on the dry sand. Who can do it? So, but here, if the thing is already slippery, if you just put the ships on it and push it small, any small effort, the ships will move on their own. So that was what he did. He coated oil on the wood, okay, that he laid, and then he dragged the ships on it. وَهِيَ سَبَعُونَ سَفِينَةٍ, and there were 70 ships. There were 70 ships that he dragged on it, on the wooden poles. وَمَا رَأَى أَهْلُ الْقَسْطَنْطِنِيَّةِ, and then the people of Constantinia, the Roman Empire, these people, they didn't realize. This ra'a here, it means actually to realize. Okay. وَمَا رَأَى أَهْلُ الْقَسْطَنْطِنِيَّةِ إلا وسفن المسلمين قد أرست. They didn't realize except that the ships of the Muslims had settled. Okay, arsa with alif at the end, alif maksura. Okay, because here it is feminine. This ta is for feminine, to indicate femininity. Ta at ta'anis, but it is actually like this. Arsa, ending with alif maksura. Okay, so arsa, as I said, it means for something to become firm, for something to settle. Okay, at a particular point, for something to become firm on something. Okay, to anchor. Okay, arsat sufun al-Muslimin, the ships of the Muslims had settled. By the time they just woke up and then they saw that they thought no ship can enter into this particular city because they have guided the city with several preventive measures that will prevent people from coming in. But it shocked them. Just slept and woke up that morning and they saw that 70 ships, not even one, warship, 70 warships was in the middle of the city. So they were shocked. And so this just brought down their morale. It just caused a lot of confusion. And so they were, confused on what to do. So that's what he's saying. Okay. إِلَّا وَقَدْ أَرْسَتْ عَلَى سَاحِلِ الْقُسْطِنْطِينِيَّةِ, on the coast of Constantinople, وَسُقِطَ فِي أَيْدِيهِمْ, and then the matter fell out of control. This expression means for something to fall out of control, for you to become helpless. That is سُقِطَ فِي أَيْدِيهِمْ. I think we have explained this before. سُقِطَ فِي أَيْدِيهِمْ. The matter got out of control. It got out of hand, like we see. Okay. The expression sakata, you know sakata. Sakata means for something to fall. Okay, so it's like we are holding something very fragile, and then the thing just fall. When the thing is fallen, you just say, and then you leave the thing to fall. You have no other choice. You just look at it, and then the thing will fall and break. Maybe you are holding a glass cup, and then mistakenly it is falling down, or an egg, and mistakenly it is falling down. Some people just raise your hand and look at it, and then it will fall. That time you have no control, you can't do anything. So you are helpless at that point. So that is the expression here. Sukito fi aidihim. They couldn't help themselves again. Okay. You know, they came to them from point where they couldn't realize. They couldn't think a person would do that. They didn't calculate. It was out of their calculation that someone will be able to have that kind of vision to do that. To drag ships into the middle of the city. Of course, even 70 ships. Okay. What happens is that the Muslims started fighting. It was not just trying to enter. The Muslims started fighting, but they repelled. This was something that happened for several days. It happened like mostly people, like history will tell us, it happened for like 53 days. It was 53-day war. So the Muslims were attacking, but the walls of this particular Byzantine Rome, it was very strong walls. Okay, even in the Quran we see it. Not only them, even they themselves, the Jews. They used similar wars when they were fighting with the Muslims. Okay. So this particular wars, that is similar thing like Allah says Surah Al-Ahzab. So they have this particular wars. Okay, these tall wars that we call Soyasis. Okay, very tough wars. So that is similar wars that these particular people had. So when the Muslims started fighting, they were repelling the Muslims. They were able to repel the Muslims. But this particular person, as they said, lam ya'jaz wa lam yay'as. He didn't lose hope. This is something that is impossible. Let me lose hope. No. He thought of entering the military into the middle of the city. And that's what will cause chaos. When military, when they are fighting and then something happens somewhere, they have to reduce the number to come and tackle that issue. And that will cause chaos. Okay, to make both sides weak. When military are fighting on different fronts, it's like you are fighting on different fronts. Okay, two-front war. You are fighting here, you are fighting there. You are not going to have the full capability. It's going to be difficult. So that's what he thought of, sending the military or sending some troops through the warships into the middle of the city. And then that just caused everything to shut apart. Okay, they just became confused what to do next. And so everything started falling. وَهَكَذَا أَخَذَ مُحَمَّدٌ الْقَسْطَنْطِنِيَّةِ, and that is how Muhammad captured Constantinople. That is how Muhammad captured Constantinople. This particular person, the Prophet said it in the hadith that how awesome will be this particular leader and how awesome will be the followers, okay, the soldiers of this particular person. And Allah wished that this was the one who should capture it. عاصمة الدولة البيزنطينية. Okay, Byzantiniya. عاصمة دولة البيزنطية. عاصمة دولة البيزنطية. The capital of the Byzantine Empire or the Byzantine state. Okay, of course, this was the Byzantine Rome. How that is clear. وسكتت عاصمة النصرانية, and the capital. عاصمة means capital. The capital of a particular country is called عاصمة. So, for example, if I say عاصمة مصر, the capital of Misr, Al-Qahira, is Qahir. How that is clear. So, عاصمة of a country means the capital of that country. So, وسكتت عاصمة النصرانية, and the capital of the Christian state. Okay, المنيعة. عاصمة النصرانية المنيعة, the capital of the protected Christian state. Mani'a means protected, something that is very protected. Okay, it's called Mani'a. So this state was very protected, of course. As I said, several attempts to capture it, but it all failed except this one. Allah just wished that this one will be a successful one, and it happened. أمام قائد مسلم شاب, in front of the leadership of a Muslim youth. ولا تزال هذه المدينة العظيمة وتركيا في يد المسلمين. And this particular state, okay, this particular great city, Madinatul Azima, this great city, Turkey in Turkey, fi yadil Muslimin, it is still in the hands of the Muslims. They are both, as of now, they are still Muslim states. In today's terminology, that is what we term as Istanbul. Istanbul, this particular city that he captured. In today, that is what they now call Istanbul. I think it is in Turkey. That is in Turkey, right? That's Turkey, part of Turkey. So this particular city is what we term today, we call today Istanbul. That was what he captured, and it became for the Muslims, and it really shaped the world. Yes, what he did is not a small thing. Several people, that particular, from it came the Ottoman Empire, and that one alone, it spread Islam a lot. It helped. That is a sabab that Allah used to spread Islam so much, especially those living in Europe, those living in the Western countries. Most of the Muslims, of the Islam there, is due to the Ottoman Empire. So it served as a center for, how do I say it? It was one of the center of Islam. It was one of the center for spreading of Islam. So it was really a great job. So he says that ولا تزال هذه المدينة العظيمة وتركيا في يد المسلمين من سنة 853 هجرية يوم فتحها Muhammad. So the day Muhammad captured it, now it was this particular year. Okay, 853 years after Hijr. Okay, 853 هجرية يوم فتحها Muhammad, the day Muhammad ibn Murad, conquered it. Okay, إلى يوم الناس هذا, until today. Okay, until today, إلى يوم الناس هذا, until today. This simple means until today. يوم الناس هذا, this day of ours, or this day of people, until today. And then he says that وَلِلَّهِ الْأَمْرُ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَمِنْ بَعْدُ. He conclude by saying that وَلِلَّهِ الْأَمْرُ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَمِنْ بَعْدُ. And solely to Allah, or only to Allah, belongs the amr, the matter. The matter lies in the hands of Allah, min qablu, way before, wa min ba'd, and even after. Power is something that lies in the hands of Allah. He gives to whomever he wants. Just 53 days, and then everything just changed. This great nation, as I said, great protected, okay, Mania, a protected state. This is something that they have fought wars for more than 800 years of repelling people from conquering the city. So the city was protected city. But just one Muslim, someone with great determination, he really have, determination. That seems to be impossible. It just happened within the blink of an eye. So that is what the author is very beautiful. He ended with this particular ayah. لله الأمر من قبل ومن بعد. هذا وبالله التوفيق. Inshallah, we'll end here, then we'll continue in the next lesson. جزاكم الله خيرا. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن الحكيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.